Hey there, people. Bad Doc Boone here with another episode of Bad Doc Boone Sonic Cellar. We're wrapping up our Christmas songs you won't likely hear on your local Christmas music station, at least not in America. And before we get any further, if you like this video and want more, if you like our previous work, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell so we let you know what's up. As I said, last couple days we've been doing Christmas songs that you won't likely hear on your local Christmas music station. This one's going to be a little bit of a hot button one because it is America-centric. There are a few countries in the world where you are likely to hear these two songs on the station, especially in the United Kingdom. But that's neither here nor there. And it felt good to save these two for Christmas Eve, where I'm shooting this on. So, we got a double dose of glam rock from the UK, both songs from the year 1973. Our first one is from a man who some people have called the mad genius of British pop. A man named Roy Wood and his band Wizard. I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. For our American readers who don't know who he is, Roy Wood originally came to prominence in a band called The Move, which was kind of a theatrical, somewhat confrontational pop leading to a harder rock act. In the final incarnation of The Move in the early 70s came a man named Jeff Lynne, and who, along with Move's drummer Bev Bevan and Wood, formed a group called the Electric Light Orchestra. Yes, Daddy Yellow. Wood would leave after the first album, although he did do a little bit of work on the second, and formed a band called Wizard. Wizard was an 8-piece band that had a horn section and had a rather wide-ranging sonic vision, at least on the first album. Their second album, introducing Eddie and the Falcons, was more pastiche of 50s rock and roll, but some of the original visions still remain. In between the two is I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. Now, there's not much of a story I can find about how the song got written outside the fact I think they just thought it'd be interesting to write a Christmas song. The song turned out to be this homage to Phil Spector and his wall sound, complete with strings, horns, a really big arrangement, including double drums, and about when the snowman brings the snow and other wintry signs. That would call the holiday season to mind, with the protagonist wishing it could be Christmas every day, leading all the way up to a children's choir. Now, on the recording, they used the children's choir from a local primary school in their native Birmingham, England. For the promo film, i.e. music video, they weren't able to do that because of actors' equity rules, so they had to get some kids from a local stage school to be the choir. Or at least lip sync to choir, anyway. The song is fun. It's a little bit light, but hey, it's Christmas. You kind of want to escape from some of the heaviness of everyday life. And it's fun. Just a couple minutes of pure fun, pure joy. And yeah, cool saxophone work. Well-written pop song arrangement. I'm sure it's been covered a number of times. It is one of the top Christmas songs of all time in the UK, and probably ranks fairly big in some of the other English Commonwealth countries. In America, not a lot of people knew about Wizard. Hence, one time I went dressed as Roy Wood for Halloween circa 1973. Nobody knew who I was. Anyway, if you get a chance to check it out, the video's on YouTube. Our next one is another glam band. And it turned out, according to Roy Wood, when he's been asked about this song, he didn't know this other band was also doing a Christmas song. And they didn't know Wizard was doing it. Now this one, a song that at one point was considered the number one Christmas song of all time in England. Also from 1973, Merry Christmas Everybody by Slade. The history of Slade, even by this time, have been rather interesting. Starting out as a band called the In-Betweens in their native Wolverhampton, England. Somewhere around the time he recorded the first album, met up with Chas Chandler, who, along with a promo person named Keenan Offman, came up with an idea to try to turn him into a skinhead band. So all of a sudden, the long hair went out and boots and braces and other skinhead culture. While people knew who they were, it didn't really successful. Skinheads saw right through them. Granted, if you have a bass player doubles on jazz violin, for a group of people who listened largely to reggae and blue beat at the time, it probably was going to be seen right through. Add to that the fact that a producer for Top of the Pops had a son that was jumped by skinheads. It wasn't going to be sustainable. So a little bit of time, they started growing their hair out. And all of a sudden, Slade became a glam band. And at this time, with their phonetically spelled song titles, they struck a nerve and hit the charts in England, with several songs debuting at number 1. In late 1973 came Merry Christmas, Everybody. A year that would be trying for Slade. Drummer Don Powell nearly died in an automobile accident that killed his girlfriend. And nobody's certain who drove. An accident where he suffered some memory loss of smell, taste. But somehow realized that if people showed him how the song went, he could still play the drums. So after a couple of shows where it had bassist Jim Lee's brother fill in, Don returned to the set, looking a little different, and jumped back, although went through some demons with some addiction issues for a couple of years, and he ended up doing okay when all was said and done. Or at least okay can after something like that. But 1973, that looked to put a damper on things, but Slade survived. As for Merry Christmas, Everybody, it was recorded in the summer of 1970. It came about because bass player Jim Lee's mother-in-law dared him to write a Christmas song. Originally, Jim Lee refused. He said he wasn't going to do it, but apparently something stuck in his mind and came across some parts of an old song that never made it to fruition. And he decided, let's see what can happen. Went over to vocalist and songwriting partner Noddy Holder's place. They did a little work on it, and Merry Christmas, Everybody was written. Got recorded in New York City in the middle of summer 1973, so during a heat wave. It's basically a song about fun, partying, family get together, about Granny tells you old songs are the best, but she's rock and rolling with the rest. A time when every Santa has a ball, that sort of thing. But while Christmas songs normally are seasonal things, this one took hold and ended up hitting number 1 in the charts. Part of the reason it took hold was the UK was going through a rough time. There were a lot of strikes going on. There were a lot of labor stuff in the air. There's a lot of tension, a lot of economic issues. So in the midst of all this, Merry Christmas, Everybody proved to be a temporary relief from people's problems. Over the years, it's gotten re-released a number of times, and at one point was the UK's number 1 Christmas song of all time. I don't know whether it's still the way now, but it is an interesting thing to think about. And if you haven't heard the song, check it out. It's fun. It's fun. Now, this song became a hit in a number of countries, but never really cracked in America. Why? Slade never really cracked in America. Partially because they were a little too English, but also because even though they do some big shows like Don Kirsh's Rock Concert Midnight Special, they couldn't really devote the months of touring that it took to break America at the time. Remember, this is pre-MTV, so you had to tour. Because they were so popular in the UK and Europe and a couple other places in the world that, if they devoted all their time to touring America, it would negatively impact their fans in the other parts of the world. So they had tough road to walk. So they went through a rough period. When punk rock came around, they faced a downturn, but made a comeback on what was supposed to be their last gig at the Reading Festival in 1980. Suddenly brought them back with a heavier sound. Then came Quiet Riot, having the hit Will Come On Feel the Noise. And all of a sudden, Slade were back. They got a U.S. record contract again, and their album, The Amazing Kamikaze Syndrome, was reworked into Keep Your Hands Off My Power Supply. And they released a couple other albums in America, but didn't tour because Jim Lee had bowed to hepatitis, which canceled the U.S. tour. And Slade's classic lineup eventually broke up in the early 90s. Dave Hill would keep it going as Slade 2, and then later just Slade in various incarnations since. But anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's a fun little song. Should check it out. Anyway, that wraps up for now the Christmas songs you don't likely hear on your local Christmas music station. There are a lot of other ones that could be added to the list, but we'll save that in case we do one next year. Anyway, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate, and hope all's working out for you. Bye.